Alright, what's up everybody? So today we have this skull we're going to paint up. Of course we're going to draw up the skull, we're going to airbrush the skull in, then we're going to add some fire around. So again, the link to this stencil is down below. The skull stencil is free for you to download and use. Along with our skull stencil, we're going to need some curves. So like this is part of my real flame set that you can find available at mikesbrush.com. But if you have a French curve or any kind of curve, you're probably going to want to use that. So that's what we're going to be using today. We're going to be using Illustration Opaque Black, Illustration Opaque Orange, Illustration Opaque Chrome Yellow, Illustration Opaque Red, and some Opaque White. Along with all of that, we're going to be using some 4011 reducer. And we're going to start off by removing the outer edge and the inner of the mouth here. And let me grab the reducer. Yeah, let me grab the reducer. Cool. Alright, so I'm just going to start with some opaque black. What's up, Ray Evans? Happy New Year, man. Hopefully you had a good Christmas, holidays, and hopefully you have a Happy New Year. So I'm just going to throw some opaque black. Going to throw in about 15 to 20% reducer because we just want it to flow nice. What's up, Easy Airbrush? Good morning to you, sir. Give it a good shakety shake, you know, the good old shakester. And we're pretty much going to start off by just laying some black all around the background. And I'm working on heavy. I think this is, I could actually show you guys. We're using these. I found these work really good. So they're 9 by 12s, 140 pound or 300 grams per meter squared paper. It's really heavy. It's made for watercolors, and so far that's kind of the surface I'm liking that we're gonna run forward with for the foreseeable future to get the most detail. It's really fine, but it also controls splatters, and it'll allow super fine detail as we go forward this coming year. What's up, Gary's Fishing? Happy New Year to you, man. So since we're working on this, I'm gonna try to keep it kind of light, and we're gonna just kind of build up the black. We don't really want to lay it in super heavy right away. We're just kind of, you know, little light strokes. And we also don't want to cover up any of our lines. And like I said before, this design of the skull here is available in the links right below the video, in the description, as well as the link to the website, so you could, if you don't have a good curve set or a flame set, you can go ahead and order yourself that. But if you click on the link to this and you look around on the rest of the images for my user on Imager or whatever, you'll see other links to other stencils, and there's actually a French curve set that you could download. It's not as optimized for making flames, obviously, but it'll work pretty good. And I actually need to just turn the pressure down a little bit. way too high. Doing some work on the vehicle yesterday. Just about finished with the Camaro. Got a couple characters left, and then it'll be ready for clear coat. So about 22, 20 psi, somewhere in that range is kind of where I like to work at on this paper. It works really good. Probably gonna start working at lower pressures than that here in the coming videos, just to get the ultimate detail, and I'll show you guys how to do that throughout this coming year. So if you followed all the videos this year in 2020, you've probably gotten pretty used to this procedure. And from there, we're gonna just push it forward and take it a little bit farther. So again, we're just gonna reinforce the black, just give it a second little coat. And I appreciate all you guys being part of the Skull Squad this year. So special thanks if you're part of the Skull Squad, you're watching live or you watch it later on when you get a chance. Many thank yous. There's quite a few of you now. It's starting to grow, and we're really going to push the quality of these videos, as well as some of the special kind of projects like the HD stencils kind of stuff. We've already got a kind of few in the works, in talks, so we'll see what happens, and hopefully we could get you guys some cool stuff throughout the year. So we got that built up. I'm gonna just make sure I get this one in here really good. Get that edge. Simple. Right, then we're just gonna move straight into the skull. Start by removing, actually these two things here, you can remove those. Start off by that. Right, these two, like, what do you call those? The front of the temple of the skull or something. And we're just gonna hit that edge right on each side. Bam. And then we can take off the eyes. And the nose. As well as this bottom part of the mouth here. See this lower jaw and how it has this like piece on the teeth here. Go ahead and take that out. So start with the nose. I'm just gonna kind of bring a line right down the middle, and then shade around the outer edge. Now this part right here, I'm just gonna kind of let it get whatever shading it gets from doing the side. All right, that's good enough. We don't need to actually hit that bottom edge there. It'll make it look a lot more poppy and like it's kind of sunken in if we do it this way. Also, now we're just gonna hit this top and outer edges, right? Like the sides and the top, but we're not gonna really hit the bottom again. We're gonna kind of let the fade from the sides kind of hit on that. So you bring that nice fade in from each side, and that's enough. We don't really need to hit the bottom edge either on that. It'll also give us a nice little more depth effect. Same thing on the other side, coming off the sides. Right. Go inside. Other side. Coming in. Hit the little edge. And then do the top. Just bring that shadow nice and down. Whoa. There goes the compressor. but now we're going to do this bottom jaw here. So all I want to do is right in the middle of every tooth, we're going to bring like a dagger stroke going in. So this, just bring a nice little soft dagger stroke coming in. And a soft dagger stroke. We don't want to make hard lines, so just kind of make it soft. And then we're going to hit that whole edge going around. Bam. Bam. And now we can start with this flaps. Start with that one, lift that up, and all we're going to do is just hit a shadow going up. Boom. Same thing on the other side. Go ahead and take off the bottom jaw, leave the teeth, bam, and then we're going to right off kind of like 33% of the way in, right on both sides. We're going to bring a shadow and kind of connect it down to our shadow here. Simple. It's like a long shadow going down, so if you want to build it up, you know, give yourself really soft strokes and then come back and reinforce the edge with some black. You're good. Kind of coming off this back side here, same. We're still connecting it to that same spot, so we kind of curve it in like this. Same thing on the other side, curve it the other way. And then all you do is shade that edge. Both sides. Now the same thing on the teeth down here. We're gonna kind of do it the same way, but we're gonna leave a little bit of space. So kind of leave that little bit of space there, and just do a soft little dagger stroke going that way, right in between all them teeth. And then we're going to hit the edge of the teeth. And then we're going to bring a shadow all the way around the edge. You kind of want to shade it in pretty good. Cool. Now starting with the back tooth on both sides. One tooth at a time, please. Alright, and all we're going to do is kind of little shadow going up. Now, we can kind of be random with it because that little bit of randomness will give it more like a molar effect. So just give it a tooth kind of effect. You know, just kind of give it a random tooth effect there. So just a little kind of line thing going around. Nothing too detailed, just a little squiggly. A little squiggly, and that's all you need. Do this last molars on each side, and all the front teeth are one piece. And this last molar, you kind of want to do it more towards the back, so it's kind of already turning into a molar, but it's not fully. It's not a full-on fully, man. Right? So then we could just go ahead and remove all our front teeth right there. Bam. And all I like to do on these is kind of hit a shadow kind of all along the top there, like that, right? Kind of connecting the molars there, and then along the bottom, let's just do a nice little U, kind of like this. Leave a little bit of space off the edge, right? And what that's going to do is just set you up for that highlight just perfectly in the right spot. You could accent your little dips in the jaw here, and when you come back in with the highlights, it'll make it a nice little highlight right there already. Then we can go ahead and remove the whole top main skull piece. This whole baby can come off. Bam. And all we're going to do is hit a shadow along this bottom cheek. Start with that. We're going to kind of extend the shadow towards the nose right here on the sides. Off of all these down points, we're just going to kind of hit a shadow a little bit. You don't want to bring it way up. You just want to match kind of like where the teeth line ends. Right? So you have that little spot there. Then you're going to off of that little spot where you shadowed, just a little shadow right above it. Not on it, above it. Just a soft dagger stroke. Soft. Soft is the key word. Same thing kind of off the nose here if you want to do this. And kind of attach your shadows here. Do a little shadow off the nose. Really soft. And then up here, you could actually go straight into the eye and pull in the shadow from the eye going down towards the nose. Bam. Then the cheekbone, you see this kind of curve that it has. You're going to kind of follow that curve. Give it some shape. A little shadow on both sides. Then right here, that spot where we didn't hit, you're just going to kind of bring in our shading and our shadows right there. Right? And all we're doing is just a little side strokes, and it'll just set you up for your highlights and give that skull some texture. You know, maybe do a little more down here just to match it up. And come around off the back, on the back, we're going to just straight up spray all the way around and kind of dull out that back edge, right? We don't want it to be so bright. And when we lay our flames in, it'll make it a lot nicer if it's actually like black and not just, you know, big hard red. So kind of bring it all the way up to the eye in a circle there. Bam. Again, if you want to lay some texture, I always like doing some like crazy looking kind of crack things here. Almost like the skull has hair, but it's really just the texture of the skull. If you have the Mike's Brush skull stencil kit, like that little texture effect, that would work really good in here. And the new skull stencil is going to be pretty good. I think you guys are going to like it. And you see there, I just made a couple C's, brought it down a little shadow. Gives us a nice brow effect on there. Simple. And starting with the outer teeth again. Right, that teeth and this teeth, which are kind of like fangs. And all we're going to do is just bring a shadow going up and around. Simple. Nothing too crazy here. Starting from the outside, and again, this one may be a little bit more fine. Just kind of bring it from the top and around. You don't have to hit that edge really hard. You just want a nice soft kind of highlight when you remove this. See that highlight right there on each side? That's more than enough. You don't need it to be really pronounced. I mean, unless that's your thing, but you know, it'll honestly just look a lot better if it's the skulls, the teeth kind of match. And there you go. And last but not least, could kind of decide which tooth, but it's always good to just have that nice little edge on the teeth there. You come back around and do a nice little hard indent on the very top of the teeth here. Just on the very top, very slight C. Bam. Match up the eyes. Simple. Throw in your texture, your effects, your detail. Maybe you want to subdue the highlight there from the cheekbone on the bottom, right? Maybe you don't want it to be so sticking out. You want it kind of in there. Just a nice little shadow over the whole thing. It's all right. There you go. We got our basic skull in there. From here, we're going to switch off to our red. Before I do that, I'm just going to make sure I got it. All the little detail I want kind of in there. So when we start laying in red, it's really going to be good. So take your time, you know, it's no rush. Of course, I'm trying to keep this video nice and short so you can kind of watch it at home and follow it on your own time. There's no point in having a 48-hour long video, so giving you the business, and then you guys can really extend upon that at home, right? You take your time, and yeah, I like to see how you guys actually turn out some of these into some nice artwork. Maybe I want to subdue the jaw back, the back side of the jaw there. You see that? Maybe it was just a little too bright. Throw some dark black on there. The inside. Do that maybe too. Just a little bit. There you go. Now we got it kind of looking like it's popping. Maybe I want to crack right here. Bam. Coming up right up in there. There you go. Nice little crack. That's cool. Do some little more definition in here. The T's have like roots in them, so a little good tip here. So just add the root of the teeth, and it's kind of like a bony, like porous texture. So if you want to. You know, it's just little ways of adding extra details, just, you know, little cracks, little mishaps in the bones and stuff in the skull. It's always a good way. Cool. And maybe just this crack up here, maybe it's just a little too light. Maybe I just want to, some of it has to be darker here. There you go. Cool. So I guess I'm happy with that. That'll work. And we'll go ahead and flush out this black and move on to some red. And make sure this microphone can come with me. Oh, what's up, James Melton? Welcome, David Griffiths to the Skull Squad. How's it going? How's it going, James? Happy New Year to both of you guys. Happy New Year, James. Happy New Year, David. So just gonna dump out this black, or what's left of it. It's very little left. Kind of flush out my airbrush real quick, and we'll start with some red, some opaque red. So if you're following this at home, this is what you should be doing as well at this point. It's just, or unless you have another airbrush, but you're gonna end up having to clean the airbrush that you just used anyway. So unless you plan to do more black, which I mean, it's possible. flushed out. Then we can come back. And we only need a little bit of red. And we probably don't need to reduce it. If anything, maybe like 5% reducer. Just to help it flow, but I honestly think the illustration lines flow really good right out of the bottle. Good enough that I could lay it over black, especially the opaques. So again, I've gone over these flames, but we'll go over it again here one by one. And on this particular exercise, you're gonna have to decide where you want your flames, right? But I like them to kind of a little bit out of the mouth here and around, right? So like kind of covering this jaw a little bit. Maybe a flame or two coming out of the eyes, and then we're gonna want it kind of, you know, around the top of the skull. So the flame's kind of coming out of his mouth and like engulfing the head, kind of like a Ghost Rider. It's kind of what I was thinking. So if that's kind of the vision in your head, know that. We also don't want the flames to be just going everywhere. We kind of want to keep them nice and controlled. So because of the size of this piece, I'm only going to be using the finest and the middle pieces on the Real Flame Kit. Again, the Real Flame Kit's available on mikesbrush.com, $20, and it's these exact ones. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna start off with this middle one, and like I said, we're just gonna lay some flames starting right here. And all I'm going to do is with the red is just kind of lay my, like the boundaries, I guess, for my flames, right? Where I want the flames to land and to stay. I don't want them to kind of go all over the paper. I just want them to just be in a nice controlled area like flames are. You know, flames are not just wild, like they are wild, but they stay within the area where they're burning, right? You don't have a campfire and then there's just fire just kind of going all over the rocks or everything. The fire stays where it's burning. So all we're doing is laying down our area for the flame. You know, it's a very controlled wild is kind of what I would say, if that makes any sense at all. So yeah. And you can see the opaque red goes over the black pretty good. Might take a couple strokes, right, and build it up a little bit, but it does go over. And once we lay our other colors, that red will give us a nice, good foundation. So maybe we want one right coming out of the eyes. Right, so all I'm doing is just, you know, building up the area that I want my flames to be in. Other side as well. Like I said, I like it when there's a flame kind of coming out of the eye, and maybe we shade the eye in a little bit red off the top, just a little bit. So that's all I'm doing is just kind of building up my base for where my flames are going to land. Land and stick. Stick the landing, right? So these back ones, I'm kind of using these biggest curves on this. Right. Yeah. Let's put that on pretty forgiving. Like I've mentioned before, you don't have to be super duper like precise. All we're doing is kind of giving ourselves the basic layout of the flame and where we want the flame to land. Now we're going to switch off to some orange. And the orange, again, that's where you got to kind of be a little bit more precise and controlled. As we don't want flames just everywhere. We want them to just land in the certain spots where they'd be. I like to also give this jaw a little bit of red here in the back, just a little bit. We're just going to touch it because we're also going to hit it with the other colors. Again, the cheekbone here too. And what we're going to try to make it seem like is the light from the flame is kind of reflecting on the skull. So we'll give it a nice yellowy and red and orange tone, so it'll look a little bit more lit up. So yeah, let me flush out this red, what's left of it, because we didn't use very much. And then we're going to switch to the illustration opaque orange. And we don't need a whole lot of it because we're not doing a huge area, so we're just going to throw a little bit in there. But I am going to add in about 10% reducer because again, we do want it to flow pretty good, and we're going to be a little bit more precise with it when it comes to this layer. So mix that in, give it a good old shakety shake. The good old shakesters, So as always, if you enjoy these videos and you want to see more of them, and you would like to get early access to and back access to a lot of our videos, join that Skull Squad down below, clicking that join button. Is a good way of supporting the channel as well as giving yourself access to a lot of those stuff, and hopefully it helps you in your airbrush endeavors to get it all nice and done. So like I said, we were going to try to make more opportunities happen this year as we get more and more subs and more Skull Squad members. Hopefully we can make some more opportunities happen. So anyway, we're going to come back with our orange layer, and we're going to kind of accent what we did with the red here. Make sure the orange is coming through, right? And it won't be super visible at first because we did reduce it, but that's why we want to build it up, right? We're just going to build up the orange. We don't want to overwhelm it and just cover it right away. We also don't want to completely cover like the skull, any of that, right? We just kind of want to fill the inside of the flame. And if you use your curve here, it's a good way of shielding the red and parts of the black, right? So you get like the second internal layer of the flame. And when it's wet like that, it'll look dark, but as the reducer dries out and all you're left with is the paint, it brightens up a little bit, right? So be careful with not trying to oversaturate too. So that's why when you work with a little bit of reducer, just trying to build it up. It's also a little bit colder in here than normal. I'm trying to have the heaters going, but yeah, it's cold. So again, just building the inside of the flame, and just hopefully you have a reference of a flame. I've done a lot of these, but if you have trouble doing fire, it helps to have pictures of actual fire, and really looking at it and examining it. Not just like, oh, that's what fire looks like, but like really look at the picture and examine each flame and how it goes and moves. And like I said, fire is not just like, you know, the orange doesn't just go all over, it kind of stays within the red and so on. So just kind of hit the inside of all these flames here. And this is why it helps to have like a specific set for this flames. It's because you have these like little extra curves that you can use to build a cool looking fire. And so you get the little curves like that. French curve doesn't really have that. It's more general purpose, but still you could get almost the same kind of effect using something like that. So yeah, this is, keep working around, and just gotta say shout out to Createx. Again, they helped provide the paint for today's video. And if you like the way this project turns out and you feel like you're gonna post it on social media, make sure you tag them. Make sure you be like, hey, look at what I did using your paint, and following the Mike's Brush tutorial, you know. They like seeing it, I like seeing it. So again, we got the inside of that flame kind of filled in there. Maybe you want to come in with some freehand strokes and just add kind of a, flames kind of have these, I don't know what to call them, but inside of the flame there's kind of these randomized high points, low points, kind of like almost like smoke, right? Like there's different I don't know what you call it, these different embers burning, different, I don't know what you call it, but there's these different strokes going inside the flame sometimes that are kind of really random, and I feel like they give a really good realistic effect when you add them. And all I'm doing is just kind of randomly throwing them around, and all it's just some lines following, again, staying within our flame. We don't want to just throw them everywhere, just kind of staying within our flame here. So yeah, I think we get the orange pretty good, and kind of bring the fade that we did off the red down here, right, and hit that again and bring the orange down just a little bit over that. And because we've reduced the opaque paint, it's, you know, it's not going to completely cover what's already there. It'll just, you know, give it a nice little accent. Bring it around the top like this. Bam. It already looks good. We don't even have no yellow on there yet. Yeah, so let me flush out the orange. And then we'll switch off to the illustration chrome yellow, which I found to be pretty good for making flames. The chrome yellow. The regular illustration opaque yellow I feel is a little too pastel-y, but the chrome yellow, this one, works really good. So cool. So the illustration opaque yellow or chrome yellow, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw some in there, and I'm just gonna throw a little bit, like tiny bit reducer, just like maybe 5% reducer, and that's only just to help it flow. But we want it to be as bright as possible, so we're gonna just a little bit of reducer. Maybe not even none. If you feel like yours is already good out of the bottle, maybe not even none. But I just like to help it flow, give it a good shakety shake. And then we're gonna come in, and now this layer here, on something this small especially, this last layer is going to be pretty important. So lay your flame down, and we're going to pull off of the edge of the stencil. We're not just going to hit the edge, right? You're going to hit that little edge like this, but then you're going to pull the flame in off of that edge, right? So you got that kind of going off to in there. The same thing, we're going to come off over here, accenting our orange and red, and we're going to hit that edge a little bit right here. But then here we're going to connect the yellow to the other one, right? We're going to pull off that edge, going that way. Bam. So now let's move on to this side. I personally like trying to use this section of the stencil, works really good. That's good right there. We're going to hit that edge, and then we're going to pull it up right here, right? See me going up right there, and then we're going to pull this one down on this side, away from the stencil. Boom. Do the same thing kind of up here, bring it in here. Gonna hit that edge, and then bring it down, and connect it to the other yellow. Boom. Coming in on the eyes, just same procedure. You use the edge of the yellow, then you pull the flame away from the stencil, right? You get that first initial edge, and then you can just pull it away. Trying to get this right there, and pull it away. Perfect. Pull it together off of that edge, and then we can come back. And all we're doing is building the inside of the flame, the meat of the flame. You've heard me say that many times. You build up the meat. You know, you want to make sure that steak is cooked. So build up the meat of the flame on the inside. Don't worry about the outside fat. Just get the inside meat. Make sure you cook that up real nice and good like. Last little bits, get some of this action in here. But yeah, if you need more help doing these flames, I have a couple of videos showing how to airbrush real fire. Go ahead and check those out. And you could, you know, a little bit of practice. I'm not gonna lie, it takes a little bit of practice. But at least you have resources available, like videos, you know, to go ahead and check it out and learn. As well as it helps to have a nice stencil kit. So I think that's pretty good. I'm just gonna kind of do some nice little freehand in there. Boom. You want some embers coming out. Yeah. It's a hot fire. Hot fire. extend that shading. Remember that shading we did with the orange and the red? Kind of hit the skull with it some. There you go. There you go. Get yourself a nice flaming skull with some fire. We got our skull. We got our nice shading all up in there. From here, if you wanted to come, well, might as well. I'm gonna switch off to some white, and we're gonna add some little white highlights to our skull here, just to make him poppity pop. And yeah, that'll be the end of it. Let me flush out this yellow real quick. Be real sure to flush out all that yellow. And if you wanted to use, this is where a pastel yellow would actually come in kind of handy, so you do some highlights in it. But considering we still have some of the white showing, I think white would just be just fine, just to give a nice hard contrast. And we just need a little bit, so won't take much. I'm going to start with these teeth here. I'm going to use our edge of our stencil kit here just to hit the sharp edge of these teeth here, right along the bottom. And we're just doing a nice little dot right on the edge, right? Can you guys hear that dog barking? Man, that neighbor's dog be driving me nuts. That is the most annoying sound ever. I don't. You go out there and he's barking at nothing. He might be barking at me because he can hear me talking. I don't know. But he be barking all day long. And I kind of feel bad for the guy. For the dog, you know, I feel bad. So all I'm doing is running around with my shield, and you know, any little edges I see that maybe I just want to accent or bring out, I'm just gonna make sure to hit those a little bit. Maybe we want to do the bottom of the eyes, right, just to bring out that edge a little bit. Bam. Cool. And then make sure you throw in some freehand ones wherever you feel like you need them. So I'm just going to kind of go ahead and give my bone here some more texture using the white over that yellow and orange. You know, it's going to really give it a nice bone look. Nice. Kind of go in on the bottom of the teeth here. And I'm probably only going to hit these top teeth and these front teeth. Like these, you know, main ones, but I'm not going to go all the way down to the side here. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, other than just keep adding highlights and shadows, you know, I think that's pretty good. You guys get a pretty good idea of what we're doing here. And I would like to see you guys' results. As always, make sure you follow us on social media. If you need stencil kits, they're available at mikesbrush.com. There's more coming in the coming weeks. Yeah, if you like these videos, you want to see more videos like this, ordering stencils or becoming a member of the Skull Squad, or ordering some of the merchandise like the Skull Squad t-shirt that I'm wearing right now, all helps the channel bring you more videos like this. It helps bring more opportunities and more stuff, yeah, including more instructional videos like this one. So let's get you guys a money shot, full frontal money shot, huh? And then, yeah. Let's see here. There's, you guys are getting the. There you go. There's like a glare from the light. I'm trying to block it, but it's not really working. But there you guys go. You guys get the full thing right there, instructional, under an hour, and I think we achieved something pretty nice. As always, thank you guys for all the support. I hope everybody has a happy new year. I hope everybody had a happy holidays, and yeah, this will be the start to a whole new year. This first video, hopefully you guys enjoy it, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Later, everybody.